All right, cool. How you guys doing?
Good.
Thank you. Anyways, my name is JT from Washington, D.C. I work for an organization called Narconon, and I'm actually a graduate of the Narconon program. I got involved with drugs and alcohol when I was about 14 years old, all the way up until I was about 23 years old. Was addicted to alcohol, weed, cocaine, methamphetamine, and ecstasy. Anyways, the reason why we're doing this talk today is I'm going to go over some things about methamphetamine. How many of you guys know somebody actually that's ever used meth? You guys know anybody that's ever used meth? Some of you guys do. Okay, cool. Well, anyways, we're going to cover some of those things. Before I get started, though, I want to do a communication drill with you guys. I'm going to ask you guys to do a few things with me really fast. So this is the start of the drill. I need you to look at a person next to you. Good. Look at another person next to you. Excellent. Give one person a high five. All right, cool. Now give two people a high five at the same time. Excellent. Now I want you to get up out of your seat and shake three people's hands and say hi to them. Hi.
Hi.
All right, cool. All right, good. Now I want you to say hello to one person. Hello. Good. Now I want you to find a person far away from you and say, yo. Yo. All right, good. Now everybody look at the ceiling. Excellent. Everybody look at that wall. Good. Everybody look at that wall. All right. Everybody look right up here and say hi. Hi. All right, cool. That is the end of the drill, and this is the start of the talk. Just a quick question, guys. Have you guys ever heard, or has anybody ever told you guys what's one of the first things that actually happens to a person when they put drugs or alcohol, like a drug like meth, inside your body? You guys ever heard? Anybody ever told you? Never? All right, well, let me show you guys something here really fast. One of the first things that actually occurs inside of the body is this vitamin and mineral burnup. I mean, every single time you guys eat a meal, right, you take nutrients out of that food and it's stored inside your body. Well, when a person drinks alcohol or uses a drug like meth, instantly, and I mean instantly, it burns up all those nutrients and all those vitamins inside the body. How many of you guys know somebody that drinks alcohol? All right, well, have you ever noticed, like, the next day, how do they feel? They feel hungover. They're like terrible. They're like, oh, dude, my head's killing me. I'm never going to drink again. They can't get out of bed. What about somebody that smokes weed, right? After that initial high wears off, how do they feel? Terrible, tired, lazy, like they don't want to move. They're just kind of stuck watching TV, eating like junk food and everything. Well, for instance, methamphetamine. Have you guys ever seen what a person on meth looks like? You guys ever seen that? They look like death, don't they? I mean, they start losing a lot of weight, right? Their cheeks are all sucked in. Some people that I know that have gone through the Narconon program, and I'm talking 18, 19, 20-year-old people, you know, girls and boys, their teeth start rotting out, you know, because of the burnup of calcium. Their faces start breaking out really, really bad. They start losing their hair. The whites of their eyes actually start turning yellow. And literally, when they come in, they act insane. Like, I've seen people talking to walls, and these are normal people too. It's not like they're crazy to begin with, right? The drugs actually like make them crazy. Anyways, this vitamin and mineral burnup is really crazy. You guys see the scar right here? You guys all see that scar right there? Well, about 4 years ago, after I graduated the Narconon program, I was really, really healthy. You know, I'm taking vitamins, I'm working out. I was in like the best shape of my life. Well, I did something really dumb, right? I had been working out a lot, and I was pretty strong, and there was this guy there that was supposedly a really good arm wrestler. So I'm like, oh, you know, let's arm wrestle, right? So I got the guy down. I'm beating him, right? And his arm's like this, you know, but his hand's up. So I'm trying to get his hand down, so I take the table, and I grab it, and I put all my weight, and I go like this. And literally, as soon as I did that, this is the next noise you hear. And my arm, my humerus bone went and just popped out. Well, I'm thinking I like popped my shoulder out of socket, right? So I get up, and as soon as I got up, my arm just went boop and just like was drooping all over the place. That's when I knew I broke my humerus bone. Well, anyways, make a long story short, I had surgery, right? And after I had surgery, my doctor, he comes in. He kind of looks like Santa Claus, right? He's got this like really big gray beard and all this like gray hair and stuff. And he comes in and he closes the door and he sits down and he like, you know the drape? He pulls like the drape around my bed and he pulls a chair up really close to me. And I'm like looking at him and I'm like, you know, my arm's up here. I'm like, you know, what's he gonna ask me? And he comes up to me real close and he's like, JT, he's like, can I ask you a personal question? And I'm like, that depends. And he's like, did you used to do a lot of drugs when you were younger? And I'm like, I used to do a lot of drugs. I'm starting to get kind of paranoid now, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, whoa, how does he know? I'm like, did you talk to one of my friends that I work with? And he's like, no. And I'm like, did you talk to one of my parents? He's like, no. And I'm like, Doc, how do you know? And he's like, JT, when I cut your arm open here, and he's like, I looked at your bone. He says, your bone was so weak and so brittle, the only thing that I could think of was from heavy drug and alcohol use. Well, when I heard that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm like, wow. So all the alcohol and drugs that I put inside my body had long-term effects physically because of that vitamin and mineral burnup. Now we're gonna shift gears into a whole nother thing, all right? But keep in mind that little piece of information because we're gonna go back to it here in a second. This next little piece here, I need everybody in this room to pick a partner. Just put your hand on your partner's shoulder just so I know you guys have a partner. All right, good. Now everybody right back up here. What we're gonna do is this. I'm gonna go through a scale of emotions, okay? So I'm gonna give you guys an emotion. I'm gonna kind of act it out real fast. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna look at your partner and you're gonna say a word in that emotion. And then you're gonna whoosh, right back up here and we're gonna go to the next emotion. We're gonna go really, really fast. Bang, 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 bang. Okay? Okay. All right, cool. All right, so here we go. So like the lowest emotion out there is an emotion called apathy. And apathy is kind of like, I don't know if you guys ever done like really, really good on a test, you ace a test and you come out and you're like floating, you're like, yeah, this is awesome, And you're walking down the hallway and you see your friend who like just bombed a test. They just flunked it, and they're like walking down the hallway and they're like, God, they're all mad. And you walk up to them like, hey, how's it going? And they're like, who cares? We're all gonna die anyways. That's kind of like apathy, right? Person's just like really low. So I want you to look at your partner, and in apathy, I want you to say, hello. All right, that's pretty good apathy. All right, everybody right back up here. Now right above apathy, we have, I have to excuse my handwriting. I have the worst handwriting. We have grief. And the grief is kind of like if something really tragic in your life's happened. Maybe you lost a loved one or like a cat or dog got run over. You're really sad and bummed out. So grief's kind of like, you're just like really sad. So I want you to look at your partner. And in grief, I want you to say hello. We got some future actors here. All right, cool. Now right above grief, we have fear. Fear is more kind of like the eyes will flick, 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 flick. Like they might make eye contact with you for a second, and then it'll kind of flick away. So I want you to look at your partner, and in fear, say, hello? All right, good fear. All right, everybody right back up here. Right above fear, we have covert hostility. Covert basically means something that's like hidden or sneaky. And hostility is kind of like the person's just like, right? He's just like going to come out and get you. Well, I knocked her books out. All right, good. So I want you to look at your partner. This is the best way for me to explain it to you. Look at your partner. Look at him right in the eye. Okay, go ahead. Look at him right in the eye. Put a really big smile on your face, big cheesy smile, and think really evil, nasty thoughts about him and say, hello. Oh, all right, cool. That's covert hostility. Quick question, guys. Where do you think a drug dealer might be on this? Covert hostility, actually, right? A drug dealer, if you guys know a drug dealer, right, they're always kind of smiling, but they're kind of slimy, and you never know what they're actually thinking, and they're always trying to be your friend. They're like, hey, man, how's it going, How's life going? Oh, yeah, you're sad, you're down, you're depressed, right? Here's some drugs. So actually, a drug dealer, you can't trust them, right? You never know what they're going to do. They're not your real friend. Cool. Well, right above covert hostility, we have anger. I want you to look at your partner and in anger say hello. 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 That was a weak anger. Let's do that one again. Look at your partner in anger, say hello. Hello. All right, good. Now right above anger, we have boredom. Look at your partner and in boredom say hello. All All right, cool. Now right above boredom, we have strong interest. Look at your partner, and in strong interest, say hello.
Hello.
All right, cool. Now right above strong interest, we have cheerfulness. Look at your partner, and in cheerfulness, say hello.
Hello.
Cool. Right above cheerfulness, we have my favorite, enthusiasm. Look at your partner and give him a really big high five, and enthusiasm, say hello.
Hello.
All right, everybody give yourself a round of applause for getting up the scale of emotions. That was awesome. Now, you guys are like, why are we doing this? That was a lot of fun, but why are we actually doing this? Well, one of the things that we actually found at Narconon to be true most of the time, especially with young people, is the reason why young people usually get involved with drugs is because they're bored. They're like actually bored in life. And that's exactly what happened to me. I actually became very bored in life. Like I kind of bored of school, bored of basketball and stuff like that, bored of hanging out with my friends and family, you know? So literally, I went out and I drank alcohol. Now, you guys ever seen somebody drink alcohol for like the first time? How do they act? Kind of crazy, right? Kind of like a fake enthusiasm, right? They're kind of like, yeah, let's go party, you know? They're doing like the moonwalk in the kitchen and stuff. They're doing things they would never do before. You can't even shut them up. Well, what happens once that alcohol wears off? Do they go up or down? No. And they come all the way down to like apathy, and the next day they're, oh man, I'm never gonna drink again. Once they get a little rest, they eat some food and they get some water inside their body, they come back up, except they don't come back to where they were before. And all of a sudden they're like right here. Now watch very closely what happens to this person who's only drinking alcohol. Goes out and drinks again. Right? You see what's happening to him here? All of a sudden now, when they're drunk, they're not even up here anymore. Now, if we were to fast forward through this guy's life, eventually, when he's getting drunk, he's actually, what? Bored. What do you think might happen to a person once they become bored of the alcohol? Yeah?
They might try something else.
Try something else. Like maybe they'll go out and smoke some weed. Well, with the weed, you guys ever seen somebody smoke weed before? How do they act? Kind of cheerful, right? They're sitting around, they're like, right? They're laughing, everything's kind of funny to them. Well, you guys ever seen a person, once that weed wears off, where do they go, up or down? Back down, all of a sudden they're like way down here and they're just like stuck. They're like, dude, I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit here and chill and not move. Well, once that wears off, they get some food inside their system and some rest. Of course, they're going to feel a little bit better. But again, like the alcohol, they don't get back up to where they were before. Well, if let's say we were to fast forward to this guy's life who's only drinking now and smoking weed, eventually, what do you think is going to happen to the person smoking weed? He's going to get bored again, which may lead to what?
More drugs.
More drugs, something harder. This is when a person might go out and actually, you know, try some ice or some meth or cocaine or ecstasy. I was doing this talk to this one high school group. They were actually like in prison. They were juveniles and stuff like that. And the one kid, before I even got into it, he's like, yeah. He's like, I got bored of alcohol. I got bored of smoking weed. And then I started smoking crack. And this was like a 14 or 15-year-old kid, you know. And it's amazing to actually see, you know, young people and where they are on this scale. That same program I was talking to you about, it was in Oklahoma City. It was a juvenile detention center. And these kids walking in there, literally, this is how they looked. They were like so low on the scale. After I became bored of smoking weed, that's when I got introduced to ecstasy, then it was cocaine, then it was methamphetamine. And literally, it was like a roller coaster ride straight down. I became very, very angry, you know, for about 3 or 4 months, where all I was doing was like yelling at my mom, yelling at my dad, screaming at my friends, screaming at my teachers. Then shortly thereafter that, I actually started selling drugs myself. I sold ecstasy in order to pay for my drugs. right below that, I became very, very paranoid, and I was like totally in fear. I actually had to rent a hotel room because I got so paranoid. I thought like the DEA, the FBI, the cops, I thought everybody was coming after me. Well, shortly there, after that period of time, I got down to grief. And I got so low, and I got so sad and so bummed out that literally what I would do after I would use drugs is I'd close the blinds, I'd take my cell phone off the hook, I'd take the landline off the hook, and I would sit in complete darkness and I would cry all day long. I don't know what I was crying about. I felt like the world was coming to an end, but literally that's how low I got on these drugs. Well, shortly thereafter that part, I got down to apathy. And that's when I came very close to actually overdosing on drugs. You guys, I didn't care about anything at that point. I didn't care about my parents. You know, I didn't care what they thought about me. I didn't care about sports. I didn't even care if I died. I didn't even care if I went to jail. I didn't care about anything. The only thing that I cared about was getting more drugs. And what actually happened to me was I was inside of a drug house. And, you know, people were smoking ice, snorting coke, smoking crack, shooting heroin. It was like a big drug house. And four of my friends, or my boys, right? Like my boys always had my back. They actually saw me actually pass out and, you know, come this close to dying. They left me there inside the house. My girlfriend is actually the person that found me and like woke me back up. I have an irregular heartbeat, so I came very, very close to dying. So about 2 weeks after that is when I checked myself into the Narconon program. But literally, it was just like all the way down. And I was able to actually trace it back and notice that it all started right here. Well, here's a question. Anybody want to take a guess what keeps a person in this range here? We'll play hangman for a second. I'll give you a first letter. First letter is G. Goals. Example, guys, that juvenile detention center, when I went in there, and these kids were like all the way down here, I said, can you guys all pull out a piece of paper, and I want you guys to list 3 goals that you have in your life. These kids sat there with their pencil inside their desk, looking at me after 20 or 30 minutes and going, JT, I don't have any goals. And I'm like, you guys don't have any goals at all? And they're like, no. I go into other schools like this one, you know, where you guys are like all upbeat and you're like kind of pumped and enthusiastic. It's cool, right? I could ask you guys to write goals, and I mean, kids just write 2 and 3 pages worth of goals. So just keeping that little piece of information in mind, that's how you stay up in this range here, are setting goals and things like that. All right, cool. You guys did a really good job. Everybody give yourself a round of applause. You guys are a great audience. Wish you guys the best. Good luck in life. Thank you.